Hello boys and girls, and welcome to another Art with Miss Taub. For this assignment, you have the option of printing out one or more of these leaf sheets. We have white oak, we have elm, red oak, maple, or sycamore, and you can decide which leaf you would like to use. A shape that looks the same no matter how it's made, like a square, a circle, a rectangle, triangle, semicircle, those are all called geometric shapes. The word geometry is actually a type of math where you learn how to compare and measure different types of shapes. So, geometric shapes are those shapes that have names. But some shapes don't really look the same every time you draw it. For example, a leaf shape or a squiggly blob shape. Those are called organic shapes. The word organic also reminds us of nature because organic shapes are often found in nature, just like this white oak that I've decided to use for my art project. Today, we are going to use our Types of Line worksheet to create something called a pattern. A pattern is anything that repeats. You could use repeating lines, repeating shapes, repeating colors, and as long as it's bumpy, curly, zigzag, bumpy, curly, zigzag, bumpy, curly, zigzag, that is a pattern. You don't have to use 3 things to create a pattern. You could make a pattern using red, yellow, red, yellow, red, yellow. As long as it repeats, you could really use almost anything. What about using numbers for patterns or even letters? There are tons of ways to create patterns, and you are the artist, so you get to decide how to fill up all these spaces with different patterns. Remember, you don't have to just use line, although that is what we are learning about in this project. You could also use shapes to create your pattern. You could use colors to create your pattern. You could use designs to create your pattern. There are many different ways to make patterns, and as long as you fill up every box with a pattern, then I am a happy art teacher. You may have noticed that the colors I've chosen are only on one side of my oil pastel box. That is because these 4 colors, red, orange, yellow, and pink, are actually analogous colors. Analogous means that they are next-door neighbors on a color wheel. Although pink is not on the color wheel, it would be in between red and white. Pink is something called a tint. That means we add white to create it. These analogous colors, pink, red, orange, and yellow, are actually called the warm colors. Think of something you know that is warm, like fire, the sun, or the desert. Those colors are called warm. On the other side of the color wheel, we have the cool colors. Green, blue, and purple. Green like the grass, blue like the ocean, and purple like the mountains. You'll notice I am adding a little bit of green just to make my leaf stand out a little bit more from all the warm colors in the background. I'm also using oil pastels because once I put paint over top of it, it's going to create something called a wax resist. And what's cool about a wax resist is that even though I'm painting over top of my oil pastel, it will actually show through the paint. That's the reason that I'm actually coloring in some of these shapes at the bottom. Now it's time to add my paint. You'll notice again that I'm only using yellow, orange, and red, the warm colors, because I want my leaf to stand out. Feel free to use whatever colors you like. After all, you are the artist. You may have noticed that I painted with yellow first. That is because yellow is the weakest color. And if I were to get a stronger color, like red or orange, on my paintbrush, and I went back to use my yellow paint, it would turn my yellow orange yellow, and I don't want that. I want a nice bright yellow. Remember, you don't have to use oil pastel and paint like I am. Just use the materials that you have at home that you want to use. After all, you are the artist and you get to make those important decisions. What I'm really looking for in this project is that you have practiced the different types of lines and used patterns in your artwork. I cannot wait to see the amazing autumn masterpieces that you create. Please send me a picture in Google Classroom, and if you're still having trouble doing that, do not hesitate to reach out. Have fun, you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.